Hello, BookTube. Well, we're going to try again here. Adam at Memento Mori reminded me that none of you are really here to watch me. You'd really rather see the books. So I've moved the camera angle around so that you could see a background of books. And I'm feeling a little self-conscious because just as I was posting the last mail haul, Cam at Well Shot Publishing put up a video with the title "Do Booktubers Haul Too Much?" And once again, as any time that such a video comes up from anybody, I'm going to plead special indulgence on the part of BookTube because although I haul a large number of books, I also read in a very large percentage of the books I haul and review a large percentage of the books I read. So I'd like a dispensation. but I thought one way to test this new tech and this new setup would be not just a mail haul, but a big mail haul. so I thought we'd try that and see how it goes. Starting with this thing. I still haven't figured out, Photo Booth has a 3-beat countdown until the recording starts, and it looks like once the thing hits the 3rd beat and seems to be recording, it's not. For a few seconds, it's frozen. Maybe I'm imagining that. But anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll watch some YouTube tutorials on Photo Booth if that's what I'm going to be using. So let's start off with this one here. Oh, and it's a winner. Okay, we start off with an absolute winner. This is Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession by Alison Weir, who, like Carol Erickson, is a historian who also writes historical fiction. It's used to be that was just verboten, but now the two of them do it, and they do it quite well. And this is huge. She's doing a Jean Plaidy style novel of every queen of King Henry VIII. So she's up to number 2. And I quite like the first one on Catherine of Aragon. So that's great. That's fantastic. And that comes out in May. And then we move on. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, fantastic. This comes out on April 4th, the same day as the 100 other books we've seen on this channel. And I have already read it. I read my way through it at the Christian Science Monitor, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. It will warm you. It will warm your heart. It's Penguin the Magpie. By Cameron Bloom and Bradley Trevor Grieve. Some of the prose is by the guy who did the block of treacle known as the Blue Day book, but the story is absolutely winning. Just a woman undergoes, a wife and mother undergoes a horrific accident that paralyzes her from the waist down, and begins to despair once she, long-term starts to come to grips with what this was going to mean for her life. And just as she's starting to despair, a magpie enters the family. They find a wounded magpie chick and nurse it back to health, and it sort of insinuates itself into their lives. And some of you may recall, if you've watched all 1,500 videos of mine, you may recall that I have a soft spot for the small subgenre of natural history writing in which a bird enters a human life. There's been quite a few good examples, and a large number of different kinds of birds. This is the first one I know of starring a magpie, and it's absolutely delightful. And the pictures, let me get you just a picture to show you off. Their son and the magpie are inseparable. And it goes for all the easy one-note, bromides about this little guy brought us all together and healed us. He rescued us. We didn't rescue him. That sort of thing that would ordinarily make your back teeth itch, but it's done so well, and the pictures complement it so wonderfully that you won't mind. Oh, fantastic. Glad to have a copy of it. And we'll move on. This thing is double and triple taped and packed. I'm assuming that the publicist does not actually want me to see what's inside, despite having gone to the bother of sending it to me. Kind of strange. But I'm determined. I'm determined. I ordinarily, in the back of my mind, when a book is locked in iron and then soldered in place and then weighted down and then hidden and then sent to me, I go through the bother of opening it, but I sort of make a mental decision that I'm not going to review it. But you never know. Okay. This is a murder mystery. This comes out in July. Anything that doesn't come out on April 4th is fine by me. This is Dark Water by Parker Bilal. And it's a Makana mystery. It looks like... let's see here. When an Englishman, Marcus Winslow, appears at private investigator Makana's door one April morning, Makana does not realize that he will soon risk losing everything he has built for himself in Cairo. Winslow represents the British Secret Intelligence Service, and he has a special mission to offer, one that Makana cannot refuse. Ayman Nizari, a dangerous specialist in biochemical nerve agents, is on the run and asking for asylum. The only person who can bring him in is Makana, by Nizari's own request. Okay. Great. But that is not Cairo on the cover. That is Istanbul. So I imagine this will be a cosmopolitan murder mystery. I like those. All right, let's move on. Let's go to this next one. What have we got here? It's a romance novel. It's a Regency. Comes out in late April. And it is 6 Impossible Things by Elizabeth Boyle. This is part of her Rhymes with Love series that I have read and I think reviewed and praised in the past. And just in case you're thinking they're awfully well behaved, there's the step back. Oh my, things have progressed. Oh my, oh excellent. Lord Rimswell could have picked a better name. That's okay. Is a man of honor and absolutes. If he says something is impossible, it is. Yet his life of right and wrong is turned upside down when he finds himself in a compromising situation with the most unyielding yet maddeningly beautiful woman in London. If only he had not given in to the irresistible temptation to kiss her, now he must marry her. Okay. I'm going to resist the urge to stop right here and get to reading. We've got a lot more books to do here. Let's see. I believe that Cam in his latest video sort of came down okay with booktubers who haul more books than they can possibly read, just for the self-centered reason of that it's good for the viewer, which I wholeheartedly agree with. The only thing that bothers me about it, which you'll be able to see coming a mile away, is when the booktubers who do that then imply that they have read all of those books. But not many of them do, so they're easily ignored. So this next one comes out in August, and it's a Boston adventure story. It's called Bosstown by Adam Abramowitz, and it is a bike messenger novel, of all things. A bike messenger navigates Boston's gritty underworld of gangsters and blood money in Adam Abramowitz's Bosstown, a story with more twists and turns than the streets of Beantown. Okay. So it's a bike messenger mystery. And if I remember correctly, I've only read one of those, plus a great nonfiction book on bike messengers called Immortal Class. So we'll see. There was also a hilariously awful Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie in which he plays a bike messenger even though he is a 10-pack-a-day tobacco addict and cannot climb a single flight of stairs without an oxygen container. Couldn't be a bike messenger if his life depended on it. Couldn't pedal quickly on a bicycle for the length of one moderately sized city block without literally needing hospitalization. That's part of the reason that he took the gig. So, all right, okay, here we go again. This is we've seen this already. This comes out in April, and it's a historical novel, a Shakespearean novel, If We Were Villains, by M.L. Rio. We saw that already, so I now have a second copy. That's good. Then we've got something big here, sizable, that will not open. Okay. course, part of the problem could be me, because it's 15 degrees below zero here in Boston. It's freezing cold. There's been cold, sleeting, horizontal rain. The sun hasn't shown its face in, I think, 10 years. And a blizzard is on the way. So, the extremities stop working. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. This comes out in late May. This is the advanced copy, but there'll be a beautiful finished copy. This is America and the Great War. And it's just a lavish pictorial record of the intervention that happened 100 years ago, in 1917, when the United States entered World War I, even though it had not a shred of business doing so. And I've looked through it at the Boston Globe, and it's a big, beautiful book, probably the best of its kind that will be produced in honor of the occasion. Let's see here. Kind of expecting more. I mean, we're almost in April. I was kind of expecting more World War I books by now. The other big anniversary of 2017 is the Russian revolutions of 1917, and there have been a slew of books, far more about them than about America's entry into World War I. Maybe that will change as the year goes on. Oh, okay. This one is a novel. It's a novel without a pub sheet. All right, we're on our own. This is by Augustus Rose, and it is The Readymade Thief, with twine on the cover. And it's a debut, it looks like. After taking the fall for a rich friend, Lee Cuddy, 17 years old and alone on the streets of Philadelphia, reluctantly accepts refuge in the Crystal Castle, a cooperative of runaway kids squatting in an austere, derelict building. But homeless kids are disappearing from the streets in suspicious numbers, and Lee quickly discovers that the secret society's charitable facade is too good to be true. She finds an unexpected ally in Tommy, a young artist and hacker whose knowledge of the internet's black market is rivaled only by his ability to break into and out of buildings. From abandoned aquariums to highly patrolled museums to the homes of vacationing Philadelphians, Tommy and Lee can always chart a way to the next perfect hideout. Okay, this comes out in August and seems to be very touted. So we shall see. All right, we're approaching the end here. There's a box at the end of this massive mail haul. I just wanted to see if this camera would hold up and the setup would hold up. It's not level, you'll notice, because it's on a blanket, and the blanket's on a dog. So I'll have to work on that, some sort of platform to put it on. All right, this one comes out in June, late June, and it's called Into the Gray Zone. A neuroscientist explores the border between life and death. But in this case, if I remember correctly, it's not the falderall that we saw earlier about life after death. Instead, it really is the gray zone where the brain is. Well, Into the Gray Zone takes readers to the edge of a dazzling, humbling frontier in our understanding of the brain, the so-called gray zone between full consciousness and brain death. People in this middle place have sustained traumatic brain injuries or are the victims of a stroke or degenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Many are oblivious to the outside world, and their doctors believe they are incapable of thought. But a sizable number are experiencing something different. Intact minds adrift deep within damaged brains and bodies. An expert in the field, Adrian Owen, the author of the book, led a team that in 2006 discovered this lost population and made medical history. What truly defines life? Okay. Great. All right. Well, depending on the author's ability to summarize what will be very abstruse material, this could be really good. Popular science books live and fall by their author's ability to do that. But we shall see. Don't think it's anything anybody's going to pay me to review, but I'll gladly review it for Open Letters, which has a new issue on April 1st. Just mark your calendars. Right. What have we got here? This one comes out in September. And it's is it going to be, yeah, it's a paperback original, good. It's a Son Called Gabriel by Damian McNicholl. And let's see here. It's a coming-of-age novel about a young boy struggling with family secrets, political turmoil, and the secrets of his own heart in 1960s Northern Ireland. Gabriel Harkin's upbringing has been shaped by his family's Catholic faith, his desperate attempts to win his father's pride and affection, and constant bullying by peers who prey on his gentle nature. Meanwhile, violent skirmishes between the IRA and the British Army echo his own inner turmoil. He begins to suspect that he's not like other boys and tries desperately to lock away his feelings even as he explores his burgeoning sexuality. And then a long-held family secret is revealed that holds the power to further rock Gabriel's already fragile understanding of his identity. So this was first published in 2004. And it was a Forward Magazine Book of the Year finalist, a Lambda Literary Awards finalist for a debut novel. And in this Pegasus edition, the author has done incredible work to expand the story. Huh. Okay, so this was the author's debut, and it came out in 2004, but it looks like the author has gone back and expanded it. Interesting. That almost never happens. And there's a good reason for that. It's almost always a bad idea. But, wow, all right, very good. Excellent. An Irish novel. All right, and then we've got this thing, fairly big. It's 2 books. Great. Fantastic. What have we got here? Making a mess here, but I'll clean up. Okay, the first one is Reconstruction. It's due, it's out already. Oxford, I tell you. Of Hypatia, the female philosopher made famous by Carl Sagan in Cosmos. Just a slim little thing. The 16 centuries ago, the Neoplatonist philosopher Hypatia was murdered by a mob of Christians. Ever since, she has been remembered in poems, plays, paintings, and films as a victim of religious intolerance, whose death symbolized the end of the classical world. And this is the publicity stuff says that this is a major new account of this remarkable woman, and a culturally rich and turbulent context in which she lived. Okay. All right, and the author is a boy. He's a wee snippet of a thing. Edward Watts. He's a classics professor at the University of California at San Diego, and he's written a bunch of books. I'll be very interested in reading this one. I don't think I got the advanced copy of this. Certainly haven't read it. There's a very, very strong case to be made for the fact that Hypatia is anecdotal, that she didn't actually live. And I wonder if this author, he'll have to address that. He'll have to address that, and he'll probably come down on the side that she did, and I hope that he proves it. And then we've got... what the... Oh, okay, all right. We may have seen this in advance. An advance copy of this it came out a long time ago. It came out in January. It's the Anthony Verity translation of the Odyssey, with no dust jacket. Just a stark thing like that. That's what it looks like. And I'll give you a taste of his translation. Those of you who know the beginning of the poem, I'll give you a taste of his translation of the famous opening. Tell me, muse, of that man of many turns, who has driven far and wide after he had sacked the city of Troy. Many were the men whose cities he saw and learned their minds, many the sufferings on the open sea he endured in his heart, struggling for his own life and his companion's homecoming. Okay. So you see it's a more 16ers. It's a longer period for that he's chosen to do, and he carries it throughout the book. I can't wait to read this again. I don't think I even read the whole thing. I read a couple of books of it in the advance copy. So I will settle down with this. Although since it came out in January, I'm not going to review it anywhere. So maybe I'll save it for August when I read the Odyssey and just do that. Sing, O muse, and through me tell the tale of that man's skill in all ways of knowing. There's all sorts of ways to translate that opening. I'm not sure what I make of the Richmond Lattimore long rolling attempt to recreate the dactylic hexameter, to recreate Homer rather than make it English poetry. But we'll see. I will give it the attention it deserves. Then we get to the end. We get to the box. We'll see what this is. My poor frozen hands. We'll see what they can do with it. It's from the University of Nebraska Press. Okay. All right. I think somebody at the University of Nebraska Press is starting to triangulate their Steve mailings. The first thing I saw a bunch of guys in baseball uniforms, and I thought, what? But it's from the dugouts to the trenches, baseball during the Great War. And boom, suddenly Steve is interested. This comes out on May 1st, and it's a slight or academic press echo of that anniversary we were talking about, where America enters the war. Baseball, like the rest of the country, changed dramatically when the United States entered World War I. And this author brings these changes to life. He definitely describes how the war obliterated big league clubs and largely dismantled the minor leagues, as many prominent players joined the military and went overseas. Okay. All right. That's great. That's fantastic. The thing that I'm missing, the slight tone of dissatisfaction, has nothing to do with this book. It might be very good. The thing that I'm missing here is a 1,000-page book that is a narrative history from beginning to end of the American Expeditionary Force's exploits in World War I. I'm missing something like that. I'm missing a book like that. I don't know if it's coming the rest of the year, but a gigantic. I mean, when World War I has the slightest sneeze of an anniversary, you get 10 books like that, or World War II. But World War I haven't seen that yet, but we'll see. This will still be intriguing. So we've got from the dugouts to the trenches, Hypatia. How are we going to do this here? The Odyssey, Into the Gray Zone. You can't see on the side there. A Son Called Gabriel in a reprint paperback. Readymade Thief. Dark Water. A second copy of If We Were Villains. Bosstown, a debut novel set in Boston. America and the Great War. Too big to fit on the pile here. Penguin the Magpie. Anne Boleyn by Alison Weir. And 6 Impossible Things by Elizabeth Boyle. 6 Impossible Things. A Regency romance about Lord Rimswell. Sorry, couldn't resist. So I'll sign off now, and we'll see how this Magilla uploads. Thank you, Book 2.